Good afternoon, everyone. My name is James Leyba. I'm head of business development for PowerBlock. I'll be your moderator for this portion of the conference. We have a great group of speakers here today to speak to you about the future of mining. We have Alex from InnoSilicon, we got Daniel from Cloud Mentor, we have Sergio from Monbank. So let's just get this started by going over the format of today's speaking slots. We're going to have 4 5-minute presentations from each speaker in consecutive order. After the presentation, we'll have about 25 minutes where we can have a conversation and you can ask our speakers questions that you have about what they presented on. So that being said, let's get this started. I'd like to introduce our first speaker. Thank you, Alex, Director of InnoSilicon. You're up.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. This is Alex from InnoSilicon. As you may know, InnoSilicon is a fabulous chip design company and has produced many world-famous mining machines since early 2014. It is great to meet you online and share with you my experience about mining technology. Just like this online meeting, we are actually meeting each other in a virtual world. Have you realized that our world becomes more and more virtual? You can see a place from Google Maps without even going out. You can go to know a stranger from Facebook. And you know what? You can make money through virtual currency. Isn't it amazing? What makes the virtual world real? I think it is because of the ever-evolving technology. Printing technology makes the book industry real. Communication technology makes the network industry real. Similarly, mining technology makes this virtual currency real. Many people believe that Bitcoin becomes so popular because POW ensure the trust of the blockchain information. Meanwhile, miners earn their reward through their mining activities. With more and more people participating, and makes it difficult to be profitable. Is there a secret formula for mining? I want to share with you what I have discovered. As Abraham Lincoln said, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree. I will spend the first 4 hours sharpen the axe. Have the right tool is very important. If you stay in the mining business long enough, you will find mining technology has improved a lot. This picture demonstrates the clear trend about it. Let's use our BTC miner as an example. Since early 2014 up to now, we have made 4 major generations of miners, and the total hash power per unit has increased 135 times, and the efficiency has improved 60 times, which means your mining cost can be greatly reduced from electricity bill, and also your operation cost will reduce. And at the same time, your unit hashing percentage is increased. Your daily mining profit equals the daily income from your coins minus daily electricity bill and maintenance cost. It looks simple, but do not forget it multiplies by time and the capacity of your mining. Therefore, it is also important to be friend of time. The longer you have mined, the more coins you can accumulate it. And you have to hold your coins long enough to enjoy the growth of the price. To be a short conclusion is, be friend with time and technology. you will be successful in mining. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex, for that presentation. InnoSilicon is an early adopter in the cryptocurrency space. They're definitely one of the biggest. And so if you're going to be wanting to listen to somebody, InnoSilicon and Alex are the group that you want to speak with. So thank you very much for that presentation. I would like to go next for my portion of the presentation. As mentioned earlier, my name is James Leyba. I'm the head of business development for PowerBlock. So for those of you who do not know who PowerBlock is, I'll tell you a little bit of background. We provide Bitcoin and Ethereum collateral loans. We have a trading desk that allows our customers to buy and sell cryptocurrency. And we also have a savings account for those that want to deposit coins onto our platform and earn a yield. Now, there are about 4 things that I want you to know that separate us from other cryptocurrency lenders in this space. Number 1, we have a higher loan to value than a lot of other cryptocurrency lenders. For the majority of our customers, we're providing them up to 70% loan to value. What that means is if you have $100,000 worth of Bitcoin, we'll loan you 70% or $70,000. A lot of other cryptocurrency lenders are going to try to give you a 25% loan to value or 50% loan to value. The challenge with that is in the mining industry, a lot of the margins can be thin and volatile, going up and down with the price of Bitcoin. So a lot of our customers who are miners have asked to receive as much cash as possible. To that point, number 2, the difference between interest only and term interest accounts. Now, all cryptocurrency lenders are going to do interest-only payments. What that means is you pay a monthly interest payment over the term of your loan. What we invented for our mining customers is a term interest loan. What that means is that you can post a little extra collateral on your loan, and what we'll do is we won't require any monthly interest payments for the term of your loan. So, for example, if you took out a 12-month loan, a term loan, then you actually wouldn't have to pay the interest or the principal until the loan is paid off at the end of the term. So for a lot of mining groups that we give loans to, they want to use that cash and invest it in either buying new hardware, data centers, property, or have some runway to pay their utility bills. They can hold on to all that cash and not have to worry about making monthly interest payments until the end of the term, which has been beneficial for a lot of our mining customers. Number 3, we primarily work with high net worth individuals and companies. This is important to know because we can customize different products depending on what you're trying to do. If you want to try to do something in the mining space, feel free to give me a call and I can figure out how to help you out. If we can't figure something out, I'm happy to bring in my trading desk to see if they have any solutions. I can even call our CEO and have him opine as well. So that way we can best help you out. And then number 4, we also have an over-the-counter trading desk to buy and sell cryptocurrency. Now, the reason why this is so important is back in 2014, when I first got into Bitcoin, there was one on-ramp and off-ramp, and that was Coinbase. And at Coinbase, I had limits of, say, $10,000 to $50,000 per day withdrawal limits. So if I wanted to buy some Bitcoin, sometimes they wouldn't let me buy all the Bitcoin I wanted to buy. Or if I wanted to withdraw it, I couldn't withdraw it all at once. Another challenge is that sometimes they would hold that Bitcoin so I couldn't transact the same day. So I could buy the Bitcoin, but I couldn't transfer it. The challenge with being on one exchange is that it limits you on your on and off ramps, especially when the price of Bitcoin is rallying or crashing. Sometimes the exchanges go down. And so going into 2021, you're going to want to have as many different options as possible. We have an over-the-counter desk, so if we KYC you and you have an account with us, what you can do is if you ever want to buy and sell cryptocurrency in the same day, we can help you out with that. We'll do the wire transfer and the cryptocurrency transfer in the same day, which is incredibly valuable, especially when customers want to transact $100,000, $1 million, $5 million, $10 million tranches. We can fulfill those lots for you. Now, today I wanted to talk to you about Bitcoin collateral loans and how margin calls work. A lot of customers hear margin call and they're really scared. They're worried. They don't know what it means. Basically, what a margin call would be is if the price of Bitcoin was to drop after you had taken out a loan, I would call you up and I would say, please post some more collateral. A lot of people get worried with that, and I wanted to explain an example from the last 12 months on what that could look like. So here you see a PowerBlock sample loan. This is a 70% loan to value. On the left-hand side, we have the price of Bitcoin. On the bottom side, I have the last 12 months of the year. And then the line chart actually shows the BTC price over the past year. And so say you took out a loan when Bitcoin was at $9,000. Now what that means is that when the price of Bitcoin drops by 20%, I'm going to call you and ask you to deposit some Bitcoin. If the price was to go up by 20%, I'm actually going to send you back your Bitcoin. I only want to hold on to enough collateral to collateralize your loan. So if you were to take out a loan at $9,000, immediately about a month later, the price dropped by 20%, you'd have to send me about 2 Bitcoin. Now, I'm saying if you took out a 10 Bitcoin loan, you would send me 2 Bitcoin. Now, when the price went up back to where you initially took out the loan, I'd give you back your 2 Bitcoin. The market dropped again, you gave me back the 2 Bitcoin. So at this point, it's been about 4 months and you're not feeling too hot about Bitcoin loans. But the last half of the year, the price really rallied. So the price went back up to initially where you took out your loan. I gave you back your 2 Bitcoin. And then we hit a 20% gain from that price. So I gave you about 1.7 Bitcoin. And then we kept on going up. So I gave you about 1.3 Bitcoin. And then the price kept on going up and I gave you about 1.1 Bitcoin. The reason why a lot of our customers like this is because I only need enough collateral to collateralize your loan. You started with 10 Bitcoin, and by the time the term was over, I'm only holding on to 5.79 Bitcoin. I gave you 4.21 Bitcoin because I didn't need it to collateralize your loan. And then at the end of the 12 months, you pay your principal and interest. So that's how a Bitcoin collateral loan works, along with margin calls. I like to tell our customers, just hold on to a little extra Bitcoin, but it can be a really good way to get the cash flow that you need, so that way you can run your mining operation. That being said, that's it for my presentation. I would like to introduce our next speaker, Daniel, President of CloudMinter. Daniel?
Thank you so much, James. I appreciate your introduction, albeit brief. In any event, it's also an honor to speak at this event, albeit virtual. Last year, it was a tremendously successful event where I had an opportunity to meet the leaders in the Canadian blockchain community. And I think it's fantastic that we have that opportunity again this year. So essentially, what is CloudMinter? CloudMinter is a company that was formed several years ago, closer to 2017. And CloudMinter serves as the official Canadian distributor for InnoSilicon. And my background personally, I served as the chairman of the Canadian Pension Tribunal. And prior to getting into blockchain, most of my passion was politics and law. So you might ask, how did I end up in the cryptocurrency space? And in the end, the amount of politics and law and understanding of global economics in mining is very critical. So what we see is that in the mining space, China has led the globe in creating the most powerful and potent miners that the Canadian and American communities have been using to mine the equipment. However, what's been happening is how do we bring together the Asian manufacturers with the local miners, and I think that's what the purpose is for CloudMinter. So how do we help serve miners in Canada and the United States? So our strategy is first of all being able to serve the miners locally in Canada and the United States when they have issues with their miners, when they need to swap out a hash board, when they need to repair. We've opened a facility here in Quebec that is able to receive hash boards from all over North America, and we can repair a hash board within 1 hour and have it shipped back to your mine, rather than having to ship the miner broken all the way back to Asia and wait to have the miner sent back to Canada. So so where that is important also for Canada in general is that we need to have more manufacturing in Canada using the brilliance of China and their brilliant chip design, and having more jobs and more local support for the miners here in Canada. And what I've noticed working with Alex is that he, out of San Francisco, is leading the team in InnoSilicon to try to support the customer here in North America. And we're really excited about this project that we're working together, the repair center and the warranty center, so we can get you back your miner fast and efficiently. The other thing we like to do is when, thanks to James, who organized the amazing World Crypto Con in Las Vegas 2 years ago, and it goes on every year, I give a speech where I talked about how miners have to be considerate of the environment. So when you have a miner that's no longer efficient, we need to look at ways on how we can recycle that machinery. We can upgrade our machinery, because in order to be there's a mantra when it comes to mining. Every 6 months, you should be recycling 1/3 of your equipment. So you're constantly upgrading your mine. You're constantly changing your hardware. So what Cloudmentor has been doing is we buy off the old equipment from the miners, we resell them to other people who enjoy them. You have low cost mining jurisdictions that can still keep those miners running, like Venezuela or Ukraine. And we want to keep the environment an important factor when it comes to mining. So we believe that with our repair center, with our upgrade program, and with our recycling, and by using sustainable hydroelectric power here in Canada, we feel that mining is consistent with environmental principles. And in particular, if we're doing support and service here in Canada, we're avoiding the carbon footprint of having the miner have to cross the ocean, and we're getting the miner plugged in faster so that the profits and the return on investment are further supported in a volatile market. And so essentially, if any miner out there is interested in finding out about how we can upgrade their equipment, how we can support them to repair their hardware, or if they're just interested in talking about the firmware upgrades with the InnoSilicon miner, we're all excited about InnoSilicon's Ethereum miner, the A10. And how we can continue to use that in the context of the change between proof of mining to proof of stake. We have the capacity here at Cloudmentor to upgrade your hashboard and add additional gigs from 5 gig to 6 gig to 7 gig and so on to keep you mining. So we're very proud of the job we're doing in building a repair center here in Canada. And we thank InnoSilicon for their support in helping us build that facility. So I wish to hear from all of you out there in the virtual world, and hopefully we can help you make some money mining.
Thank you so much, Daniel. I can't say how important it is to have a repair center in North America. I know for the longest time, the space is obviously very young, but for the longest time, we had to always send our mining equipment back to China to get repaired, or warranty claims, and then get it sent back to us. And that turnaround time is like 3 months, potentially 9 months, maybe a year. It was insane. But to be able to have a repair center in North America, Canada, I think that's super important, as well as recycling the equipment too, because you're right, there is a second life for old equipment in places like Venezuela, where the cost of electricity is zero or subsidized by the government. And so, recycling equipment as well is really nice, because then you're not just sitting on a bunch of aluminum. So that's really great to hear all the things that you're doing there. I would like to introduce our next speaker and final speaker, and then we will open up to the panel discussion. But I would like to introduce Sergio, Chief Operating Officer of Monbonk.
Hey guys, I wanted to start by saying I'm super excited to be on this conference. It's my first time up here representing Monbank as a Chief Operating Officer, and we're here to talk about the future of mining. Before I do so, I wanted to introduce myself. I'm a miner since the past 4 years. I've been in the field and only growing and getting to develop this great revolution we're in. I want to talk about Monbank. Monbank is a digital bank that's focused mainly on mass adoption to everybody, high net worth individuals, and mainly miners. Um, what we want to do is also to facilitate the buying and selling of bitcoins to miners, especially, and take it to the next level where we'd like to even offer hosting services with our 5 megawatt mine. And last but not least, as we're seeing a nice transition for Ethereum, let's say we could talk about mainly between the proof of work to proof of stake. So we wanted to also be involved around that and show and teach people how we could offer them a service in a secure way for them to be able to stake their coins and make back the revenue from it. That's going to be audited by Raymond Chabot. As well, for the miners, would love to be offering merchant banking services for them on the long run here. We have a lot of stuff coming up, super exciting news we want to talk to you all about and show you talking about that. And this is where it's headed mainly. I want to keep it nice, brief, and short, and maybe move on to the discussion. What Monbank is really doing is trying to take the regular institutional banking and try to merge it with this crypto world we have of Bitcoin and Ethereum, as these digital currencies are decentralized. So we want to be that bridge to show and help and adopt the system so everybody realizes and joins this revolution. This is our end goal here. Thank you. I think we could move on to the discussion.
Thank you so much, Sergio. I know that in the mining industry, I mean, it's been a really tough space to be in for the last couple of years, but just overall, you know, since Bitcoin first came out, proof of work has been, you know, it's had its ups and downs, and a lot of people have got in the space, and a lot of people have gotten out of the space, and so I like to see the staking as maybe an alternative to just traditional proof of work mining. So I think that's super interesting. Now we're going to start the open panel. I will keep an eye on questions to see if anybody has a questions for one of the speakers, and then we can answer questions that way. I did want to actually ask my own question, which is always on the back of my mind, and this is open to any of the panelists to see if they want to answer it. But the cryptocurrency proof of work mining space is incredibly competitive. You can see that with the hash rate, you know, going up to all-time highs, pulling back, and then, you know, price of Bitcoin rallies, and it's very short-lived because then all of this hash rate gets turned on. And so I want to ask you, you know, if I'm not an early adopter, if I don't have like 5 megawatts or 20 megawatts or 100 megawatts, does mining still make sense for me, or should I just buy the coins? You know, like, you know, how do I justify getting into the mining space? Maybe Alex, you have a lot of experience in the mining space. Maybe you could hit that question.
Yeah. So I've been in this business for like many years, right? An interesting thing I have noticed that like the people who do the coin trade, they cannot stay very long. And people who doing the mining business, they're always there. They always hang on. Why? People can say, okay, those people who do the trading are smarter. They are they react quickly, and they are short-term profit gainer. And once you buy a mining machine, it seems like you got hold there for quite a while. But the good thing is about the trend of the Bitcoin price goes up and down, but the biggest trend is going up, right? If you are doing the mining, you have to hang on there for a longer time. If you do the trading, you got panic and you sold out and you lose money and you are out. But you do the mining, every day you gain some coin. You cannot be rich for like a short time, but for long term, because you accumulate the coin and you go with the big trend, you are the winner. So that's my observation.
Yes, and I would add to that they, if you're in a low cost electricity jurisdiction like where we live in Quebec, then the numbers are such that the cost of mining one Bitcoin is substantially less than purchasing one. And of course, as Alex has told us, patience is the key. So if you continue to grow your mining portfolio and you try to have one Bitcoin miner, another Ethereum miner, another Equihash miner, you're diversifying your portfolio and you can accrue over time what has proved to be fairly profitable returns.
Sergio, did you want to add to that?
I would add to that, it's obviously all about timing, and mining has proved over time to be more efficient, I would say, than buying the coin straight, in my opinion, as a miner that's been doing it for the past 4 years now. And you could run numbers and you'd realize efficiency. Like, I would really get back to the point, what Alex said is, are you looking at a short-term goal, or are you here to stay and support the network? Because as a miner, you're not just buying the coin to make money off of it, right? When you start mining, you're supporting the network. So you become a validator. The more people plug in these miners, the more there's people validating the network, the more secure the network becomes. So I feel like mining would be more towards whoever decides to go into mining is looking to the long term to support this revolution, want to become a validator, and not just jump on to make a few bucks of gains from the prices going up and down. This is my opinion on this.
One of the things that a lot of people ask about, and I talk to a lot of customers about when they're looking to buy new mining equipment, is the ROI, so return on investment. Because Daniel's right, you could say your cost of mining one Bitcoin is less than what the value of Bitcoin is on exchanges, but then you have to buy the hardware, right? Or potentially invest in data centers. You'll have to navigate the utility bills of electricity and stuff. Some of these miners, when you were looking at them brand new right off the lot, they were ROIing, based off of different calculators online in 12 months, 18 months, right? And then all of a sudden Bitcoin goes to 15,000, and all of a sudden that ROI shrinks to 6 months. So how do you decide when to buy, right? Like, how do you decide when you should be buying mining equipment? Should you kind of dollar cost buy the mining equipment, or what size should you start with? How would you start, acquiring, the mining equipment to build your farm, given the price volatility and the hash rates all over the place? Like, how do you know when to start? Sergio, would you mind answering that question?
Yeah, it's all about scalability. There's a certain scale threshold you need to attain, and obviously that also takes into consideration the price of the coin. Let's say you're mining for Bitcoin. If prices have already went up from a dip and you weren't able to buy at that low, then definitely jumping in with mining hardware instead of buying it at a higher price and then having the fluctuation after, where you're going to be afraid and want to sell out and not hold long term. But if prices have already taken a certain rise, jumping in with a hardware where you're investing your money in that hardware that's going to mint you the coins is more, I would say, a path I would prefer to take, because I'm putting my money into hardware. Yes, I'm investing in a data center or putting it with a hosting company like us. And this is where, at the end, I feel like putting your money into hardware and just sitting on it on a long term. You know, you're minting your coins. That threshold comes with the price of the market, I would say.
Daniel, you recycle mining equipment, and so you've seen the life cycle of mining equipment once it's gone to market. You've been around in the space for a very long time, so you've seen new equipment come into the marketplace when the price is all over. In your opinion, how long does mining equipment last?
Well, it's funny because I've often prematurely predicted the death of mining equipment. One of the famous miners equipment, for example, the T1 or the equivalent in the Bitmain, which would have been the S9, they were very profitable in the beginning. And the problem with mining that you have to be conscious with is if there's a stampede or if there's an overproduction by one manufacturer, the difficulty will increase such that your return on your investment will be less than what you anticipated. So I think that I did see in the past where you bought equipment, I thought it was going to die, and then Bitcoin went up again, and this equipment that everyone sold at a cheap price went up in value. So funny enough, it's kind of like what Sergio said. The time to buy mining equipment is when everybody is selling it. The time to buy Bitcoin is when everyone is selling it at that cheap price. So getting like when those people who bought an S9 or a T1 at $50 at the bottom of the market or $100, they then flipped that hardware when Bitcoin went up for double or triple. So it's a funny game. You never know what could happen. Your equipment could come back to life. But I do think that you need to follow the rule that every 6 months to replace 1/3 of your hardware and buy the latest miners. It's important because technology has a short life cycle, and I wouldn't hold on to a miner generally more than 24 months.
24 months is a good amount of time, and if your miner is lasting that long or longer, you're definitely going to be ROIing on that purchase.
Right.
Alex, my question for you is about the equipment that a customer would want to buy from Innosilicon. And so obviously Innosilicon is the manufacturer of the miner, and so they're going to be selling it to customers. And I would venture to say that you know who your biggest customers are around the world. And so when you're selling miners to customers, or they're making that investment with you to help develop their mining farm, what are you telling them as far as how this investment is going to work for them? Like, do you see any kind of trends on when they're trying to buy or buy more, when the price is high or low? Like, how do you talk to your customers about their purchase and make them comfortable with their purchase?
Okay. Yeah. For in this like 80 years, I have met all different kind of customers. Right. I always discuss with them and try to find a best solution to meet their needs. Basically, some people they always very cautious, right? They always do a lot of calculation, and they hesitate, and they talk many times, and they didn't buy. But after several months, they regret because they found, I actually missed the trend. From the manufacturer point of view, there are two things is very important. One thing is we all know the Morpheus law in terms of the chip design, right? So, but it comes like people right now that we in terms of the manufacture process in technology, we move from like 180 nanometer right now to the 7 to the 5 nanometer. Like every 2 years, it has like new technology comes out, a new process come out, becomes more efficient, right? But nowadays, this trend slow down. we reach to 5 nanometer. Like even they say, okay, we have a 3 and 1, but you can see there's not much difference between the 5 nanometer and the 7 nanometer. The efficiency doesn't improve a lot, but the manufacture costs increase a lot. So basically, you will find out right at the current stage, we're gonna come out a new generation of miners, and we foresee it's gonna last for quite a long time because we know there are not much improvement in terms of the process benefit there. That's one thing. The efficiency is one thing. Another important thing is about the stability. Right? We have many evolved generation, and at the beginning it's not very stable, and nowadays it becomes more and more stable. We find out many different ways to reduce the heat and increase the stability of the miner. So nowadays, once you get into when you buy a miner, you know it's after the competition, and the quality and stability increased a lot. That's one thing. Another thing is in terms of the profit. To be honest with you, as the manufacturer of the miner, we have very little profit on top of the cost nowadays because of the competition, because of the total network hash rates pushed down. So we actually don't have much profit to make the miner. Okay, so if you are the newcomer, or if you want to replace your old miner, it is time to do that, because it's gonna last longer, it's more stable, it's more mature, and I don't foresee a big improvement after our fourth generation. I don't see that. So it's a good time.
So that's a good segue into my next question for you, Alex. So, and everybody actually, regarding proof of work mining, if you were to start right now, right, to make a big investment going into 2021, you're in 2020 right now, but 2021, what would be a good tip that you could give to a customer that you have about how to be successful in mining? And so, Alex, you said we have some new equipment coming out. What would be your advice to a customer who was ready to get started right now?
Okay, so the important thing is about, as my presentation end with, be friend with time and technology, right? So now we have a more efficient and a new technology come out with the next generation miner. It will be more efficient, and more stable, and it will last longer. So get the best, and also with the good capacity and start order earlier, so you will be a friend with technology, time, and the volume. Only in that way, because the mining business is a zero-sum business, right? It's a zero-sum business. The portion you become grow, and you got more share out of the total network. So and the trend from increase, that the price increasing, it becomes more and more difficult to get the coins. So the total design of the blockchain, like BTC, for example, it has a top, and it ensure you have increased cost to gain nets. So in that way, it actually hashed the current money, right? The money print without the limit, and this one, it has a top, and it's more and more difficult to get it. So you can see it's a good hash for the financial wide. That's my suggestion.
I would
Daniel,
I would add,
Sergio, your
Yeah,
tip,
sorry.
please, try to be successful in this space.
Yeah, it's two very small tips. Renewable energy, that's one. It's the most important. That's your biggest cost on mining, right? It is the electricity. Renewable energy and efficiency, knowing how to move your heat in a room to be able to keep these machines in a healthy state for a long term. And renewable energy, again, I would mention that 2, 3 times as this is your most cost efficient way. Daniel, sorry for
yeah.
cutting you. I'll let you
No,
take
no,
over.
Sergio, your point was fascinating. I think, and I actually really was thinking a lot about what Alex was saying. Is that what it makes me think about is the miners who are the most successful are the miners who stay plugged in. And if you work with and the miners who don't sell their Bitcoin to pay their power. So if you can't afford to pay your power, um, try to buy less miners until you can afford to pay your power without selling your crypto. Or talk to a company like James or a company like Sergio, where you can find financial instruments so that you can hold your coin in the long run, and those will be the winners in this race.
And so I've heard a lot of successful tips here. Time is your friend with mining. Obviously, buy the next generation equipment because that will be lasting the longest. Try to save on your costs, especially utilities. Manage your heat. And then also financing. I think that's a good one. Financial instruments. I mean, you don't want to sell your coin at all. And I've seen a lot of miners who've done collateral loans, and they just postpone having to actually sell their coins, or they'll take that cash and reinvest it to make their farm bigger. And so I think trying to postpone ever having to sell your coin until you want to sell it, I think, is a big one. So that being said, we are here to the last few minutes. There is a final question that I do have for each of the panelists. So thank you so much for speaking today and answering our questions about the evolution of mining. Our next question and final question: what will the future look like by 2021?
Why don't you begin, Alex?
One thing I want to add is that Silicon is stay in this business. We have a lot of friends and a lot of partners, like Daniel and James. We all get support from you, and we work together. So that's the good ecosystem that make the community grow. Inside, still, although a lot of people has already joined the community, but there's still a lot more to come. So we work together, we build a ecosystem and get more and more people involved. We are all the winner. And in terms of the 2021, I think it's very promising, especially with the downtrend of the traditional industry and a lot of crisis on the financial side. I think we are on the right side. So
thank you.
Hang on
And Sergio, what will the future look like by 2021?
The future starts now. Every second we're in the future. The future of mining, future of the DeFi world is integrating the CeFi into DeFi and trying to see where POW is going to move to POS for, let's say, Ethereum, not Bitcoin. And that's my vision there.
And I know that if you're interested in staking and that DeFi world, definitely talk to Sergio. Daniel, what will the future look like by 2021?
Well, I think my panel is commenting on the geopolitical situation in 2020, where states are printing money, and I'm sorry, the U.S. and Canadian dollar, it doesn't look as good as Bitcoin these days. And that's why people are driving the price of Bitcoin up. And I think the future is very bright.
And I'll ask myself that same question. What will the future look like by 2021? To Daniel's point, there's only 21 million Bitcoin in existence. there's less than that because people have lost it or destroyed it. So I think that's really going to show that there's only such a few amount of Bitcoin out there in the world when the world finally gets on board with that. So that being said, I'd like to thank all the panelists. This is an all-star panel. To be able to have this collective experience in the room is wonderful. So thank you so much for coming. I'd like to thank the Futurist Conference 2020 for inviting us to speak and allowing us to be part of it. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, James, and thanks everyone.